Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you this morning with a What's Next. We're going to be discussing welterweight rising prospect Virgil Ortiz Jr. Welterweight is 147 pounds. Virgil Ortiz fought last Saturday on August 10th and on DAZN in the main event of a DAZN card, and he took on former world title challenger Antonio Orozco. He was patient in that fight. Really broke Orozco down with body shots and just clean headshots. But Orozco actually a tough fighter. He actually gave him some trouble. Definitely was his toughest test for Ortiz. But yeah, he got a clean 6th-round knockout win and stayed undefeated. So the big question now is, what's next for Virgil Ortiz? Well, it's kind of tough to say because Virgil Ortiz is a golden boy fighter, and if he's going to fight at 147 welterweight, there's not a lot of options for the welterweights, for golden boy fighters at welterweight. I mean, you can fight some guys who out of the top 10, but I'm talking about top 10 options. We'll run through them real quick. Actually, I'll run 10 through 1 instead of 1 through 10 just to, get the bigger names last. But, start with a guy at number 10 like Adrian Broner. Broner's not going to fight a guy like him. He's with the PBC anyways. That's just, there's just no way that those two companies work together. Number 9, Sergey Lipinets, former 140-pound champ. He's another PBC fighter. He's on the move there. Jeff Horn at number 8. He's moving out of the welterweight division to the middleweight division. He's fighting on the 31st. That wouldn't be possible. Yordenis Ugas, another PBC fighter. So that fight most likely not going to happen. You got guys like Danny Garcia, another PBC guy, not happening. Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao's, at the top of the division fighting for PBC. Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, all those guys, PBC fighters. And they're high-end guys who really aren't going to look at a guy like Virgil Ortiz for their next opponent. But one guy that might, but I don't think so, is Terrence Crawford. If Golden Boy and Top Rank can work out a deal. I think it's possible, but, Golden Boy's going to have to give up their rising prospect right here to go over to ESPN most likely, because Bob Arum's not going to let Crawford go to DAZN, so I really don't see it happening. Lively options next. I think Saddam Ali is a good one because he's actually with Golden Boy. I think that would be a good option for Virgil Ortiz. Not that it would be too impressive of a win, but Ali has a name, so, that would be big for Virgil Ortiz, and I think that's something they need to consider because they've kind of been fighting around the same opponents. Ortiz destroyed Mauricio Herrera in his last fight, and Ali fought Herrera, I believe, last December and got a decision over him, so, I'm not sure Ali wants this fight because I think Ortiz would go in a heavy favorite, but if they're trying to set him up with a name next, I think that's the best one. But Golden Boy really needs to start crossing the street and working with the other promotional companies to get their guys like Ortiz some big fights in the divisions that are out of, that they're not big in, like this one. Welterweight is consumed by the PBC, and even Terrence Crawford's having trouble getting fights, and he's a huge name. So, Golden Boy definitely got to get some work done, or Virgil Ortiz needs to consider moving down to 140. But again, not a lot of big options there. But the options that there are matchroom guys and guys that fight on DAZN. So it's more makeable fights. But eventually these guys are gonna have to start crossing the street and getting the big fights to happen because Virgil Ortiz is a serious player. And it's only getting better and better. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. What's next? Virgil Ortiz Jr. True Boxing. Been hit with the truth.